Every gardener knows mulch can be a savior. It keeps soil cool, locks in moisture, and slowly feeds the earth as it breaks down. But not all mulches are created equal. Some build soil life while others suffocate it. And then there's one particular mulch that was once widely used in orchards only to be restricted or outright banned in many commercial operations. Yet the very same material, when used wisely in raised beds and small gardens, has been proven to revive dead soil and bring life back faster than many conventional amendments. That mulch is fresh wood chips. The hook here is that wood chip mulch was banned in certain orchards not because it was useless, but because it worked differently from chemical-based systems. Farmers feared nitrogen drawdown, slow breakdown, and the challenge of managing uniformity at scale. But for backyard gardeners and raised bed growers, those same qualities make it a secret weapon. When applied the right way, wood chips fuel fungal networks, hold moisture, and regenerate beds that have gone stale or lifeless. Let's break down why this mulch developed a bad reputation, why it still carries controversy, and how to use it to your advantage without repeating the mistakes that got it blacklisted in large-scale farming. Why wood chip mulch was banned in orchards. In commercial fruit orchards, particularly during the mid-20th century, wood chip mulch was trialed as a soil management practice. The idea was to suppress weeds and improve soil moisture. But when applied improperly, the chips pulled nitrogen from the soil surface as microbes broke down the fresh carbon-rich material. This led to shallow nutrient shortages and yellowing leaves in trees. The result was pretty predictable. Farmers saw reduced growth, uneven yields, and eventually they just abandoned the practice altogether. Regulatory advice and industry standards soon pushed wood chips aside in favor of bare ground management, herbicides, and synthetic fertilizers. For orchard-scale operations, the judgment was really practical. They simply couldn't risk stunted growth across hundreds of acres. But in the process, the benefits wood chips could bring to long-term soil health were just kind of overlooked. The ban was less about actual danger and more about mismanagement, mixed with the impatience of large-scale production systems. So how do wood chip mulches actually revive dead soil? Well, when you apply them in a raised bed or a small garden, wood chips do something that commercial orchards just didn't account for. They rebuild fungal-dominant soil ecosystems. Most vegetable gardens, especially those intensively managed raised beds, lean heavily toward bacterial dominance because of frequent tilling, fresh compost, and high nitrogen inputs. While that's good for short-term growth, it doesn't really build the long-term structure or resilience you need to handle drought, heat, or nutrient leaching. Wood chips flip that equation. Their high lignin content feeds fungi, which stretch mycelial threads through soil and mulch. These networks act as living highways, transferring nutrients, stabilizing moisture, and unlocking minerals that roots alone just can't access. Dead beds, those where crops struggle year after year despite compost additions, are often bacterial-heavy and microbially imbalanced. A top layer of wood chip mulch restores balance by giving fungi the dominant food source they thrive on. The right way to apply wood chip mulch in raised beds. The key to avoiding nitrogen lockup is placement. Never mix fresh wood chips directly into the soil where roots are active. Instead, keep them on top as a surface mulch. In raised beds, a layer of 2 to 3 inches is ideal. Anything thicker risks suffocating young seedlings, while thinner applications break down too quickly to provide benefits. For example, if you're starting with a completely dead bed that's hard and compacted, begin by loosening the top 4 to 6 inches of soil with a fork. Spread compost directly onto the surface, about 1 inch thick, and water it well. Then add your 2 to 3 inches of wood chip mulch over the top. The compost provides the nitrogen buffer that offsets early microbial activity, and the mulch above keeps moisture in while feeding fungi. Within just a few weeks, you'll notice the soil underneath becoming darker and looser. Choosing the right kind of wood chips really makes a difference. Softwoods like pine, spruce, and cedar are slower to break down, but they're excellent for encouraging fungal growth. Hardwoods such as oak or maple, on the other hand, decompose faster and offer quicker integration into the soil food web. If possible, a mixed load of arborist wood chips, the kind that tree trimmers deliver, is honestly the best choice. These contain not just wood, but also shredded leaves and twigs, which helps balance carbon with some nitrogen. So, it's important to avoid chips that have been treated with chemicals or come from pressure-treated lumber. Honestly, fresh and natural chips are just the best choice for your garden. If you're worried about potential disease in your wood chips, just let the pile sit for a few weeks to cook before using it. The natural heat from microbial breakdown will usually neutralize most pathogens. Using wood chips works differently for different crops. Some crops, really respond well to the fungal boost from wood chip mulch. Fruit-bearing plants like tomatoes, peppers, and squash just thrive because those fungal networks help deliver nutrients like potassium and phosphorus, and root crops such as carrots and beets benefit from the looser soil texture you get beneath the mulch. Leafy greens can also do well, but they need a thinner mulch layer, about 1 inch, so their shallow roots aren't stressed by early nitrogen drawdown. For perennials, wood chips are almost unmatched. Berries, asparagus, and herbs like rosemary and thyme grow in soils that naturally lean fungal, so mulching them with wood chips mimics their native environment. Over time, you'll find fewer weeds, steadier moisture, and plants that look healthier with less fertilizer. So, let's talk about how to combine wood chip mulch with other soil practices. While wood chips alone can really transform a garden bed, combining them with other soil building methods, well, it just multiplies the effect. Spraying diluted compost tea onto wood chip mulch actually inoculates it with bacteria and fungi, which accelerates breakdown and colonization. Adding a light sprinkling of rock dust or wood ash under the mulch supplies minerals that fungi can access and deliver to your plants. In dry climates, pairing wood chip mulch with a drip irrigation system beneath ensures steady hydration without water loss. For a practical example, many gardeners revive an exhausted tomato bed by first spreading about 1 inch of compost, then laying down 2 inches of wood chips, and finally, watering with compost tea that's mixed with a tablespoon of molasses per gallon. Within a season, worm activity increases, mulch softens into rich humus, and tomato yields climb, all without the need for heavy fertilizer. So what should you expect as the mulch breaks down? In the first month, you'll probably see the chips dry on the surface, while the layer underneath starts to darken a bit. By the second or third month, you'll notice these fungal threads, white strands weaving their way through the mulch. This, right here, is the sign of life returning. After about 6 to 9 months, much of the mulch will have integrated right into the soil, leaving behind this rich humus that holds on to moisture and nutrients. Each new application just builds on the last, and over time, this creates beds that are truly self-sustaining. So the mulch that was once banned in orchards actually turns out to be the very thing modern gardeners can use to revive beds that seem, totally dead. Wood chips aren't a danger when used correctly. They're actually a real resource. By applying them as a surface layer, mixing them with compost, and just giving them some time, gardeners can turn even the most lifeless soil into a thriving, living system. The fungi they foster, the moisture they conserve, and the organic matter they provide make them one of the cheapest and most effective tools available. So don't let the orchard ban scare you away. Take advantage of this overlooked resource. Try it in one of your beds this season, track the changes, and watch how quickly life returns. If this guide gave you fresh ideas for your own raised beds and gardens, Subscribe to HydroHaven for more soil revival experiments and practical composting secrets. Share this with fellow growers, because the more of us who learn to build living soils, the less we'll depend on costly fertilizers and the more resilient our gardens will become.